Hello, this is TVWAN News. I'm Jasmine Jack.
And I'm Rex Later.
In this edition, breeding animals prohibited, resettlement community empowerment, and Kumul's 5'8" retires. The government will launch a nationwide cleanliness campaign in preparation for the country's 50th independence anniversary. This is to promote responsible waste management, anti-littering awareness, and betel-nut-free public spaces. The campaign will focus on education, community cleanup events, and enforcement of anti-littering laws. Prime Minister James Marape announced this in a media statement while calling on Papua New Guineans to end the habit of spitting betel nut and littering in public spaces. He called on citizens to take pride in their nation and to embrace a cleaner and healthier environment. The Prime Minister also highlighted the health risks associated with betel nut chewing and the environmental damage caused by improper disposal of betel nut husks and plastic waste. The National Capital District Commission is raising concerns on the breeding of animals in the city. NCDC is informing the public that breeding and keeping animals in residence is prohibited according to the Papua New Guinea consolidated legislation. There is an increasing activity of breeding and keeping of animals in Port Moresby, according to the National Capital District. NCDC is advising the residents of the city that are breeding and keeping of animals within premises. It is strictly prohibited and constitutes an offense. It is an offense under Section 5 of the Public Health, Sanitation and General Regulations, Chapter 26, stating, "A person who, without the written consent of the local medical authority, keeps any animal, other than a cat or dog, or permits any such animal to be kept on his premises within a distance of 15 meters from a dwelling, hospital, or school building is guilty of an offense. A person who in a place to which this part applies keeps a pig is guilty of an offense." The charges, according to the PNG consolidated legislation, includes a penalty, which is a fine not exceeding 100 kina, and in addition, in the case of a continuing offense, a fine not exceeding 10 kina for every day during which the offense continues. NCDC advised that this activity is a risk to public health and is therefore prohibited in the city, and all residents are encouraged to cooperate with the NCDC and refrain from such activities. Manus Police Station was under attack on December the 30th, 2024 by aggrieved relatives of an escapee who allegedly died when trying to evade police. According to Manus Provincial Police Commander Senior Inspector Maureen Undaba, the escapee, who was charged with liquor offences, was on the run after he escaped on August the 20th, 2024. Senior Inspector Undaba said he was apprehended by police on December the 30th during the Christmas operation. She said due to him excessively resisting arrest, he was beaten up and allegedly this resulted in his death. Undaba said his relatives and some locals attacked the police station the same day, and as a result, one police officer was wounded and 2 police vehicles were damaged. Senior Inspector Undaba said PNG Defence Force personnel helped contain the situation. Change can only take place if people take ownership. This was the idea that gave birth to the establishment of the Resettlement Community Empowerment Team in East New Britain Province.
When the people of Rabaul district were forced to flee their homes during the 1994 twin volcanic eruptions, the East New Britain provincial government bought land to resettle them. The resettlement areas that were secured are Gelegele, Warina, Clifton, Asing, Vunakabi, and Sikut. After resettlement, the former residents of Rabaul were neglected by their political representatives for over 2 decades, leading to a rise in population and social disorder. New leadership in the province after the 2022 national general elections once again renewed hope for the settlers, with some of them forming and registering the Resettlement Community Empowerment Team in 2023.
La Community Empowerment Team initiative ni plan it was registered lo IP generally you la tranqueta lo everything in general lah you no to solo security or you no to awareness programs lo health education mega supporting to popular too so mainly my system ogata different sector or department where me plating of some LLG community LLG belum belana bala na teman no working me the home ups and group of registered money right here.
An important area that the Resettlement Community Empowerment Team played an important role in during the festive period was law and order, where both men and women patrolled the resettled areas until dawn. Because of their efforts, residents were able to enjoy the festive period in peace and quiet, a stark contrast from the usual drunken brawls, noise pollution, theft and property damage. Maricela Kelaton, TVWAN News.
Prime Minister James Marape has welcomed the successful rollout of an off-grid solar project that is transforming the lives of thousands of Papua New Guineans in rural communities. The initiative, a collaboration between the governments of Papua New Guinea and Australia, has begun delivering 8,700 solar installations to homes, schools and community facilities across 18 villages in the Huon Gulf district of Morbe. This phase is expected to be completed over a 7-month period, significantly enhancing energy access for households and community facilities. The Prime Minister praised the project as a game changer for rural development, helping to bridge the gap between urban and remote communities by providing reliable, sustainable energy to areas previously without access to electricity. The off-grid solar initiative aims to provide reliable and sustainable electricity to remote communities. This is TVWAN News. Urgent need for blood donation and public service restoration. We'll have those stories and more after the break. Welcome back. Port Moresby General Hospital Blood Bank is in desperate need for blood to meet the need at the hospital at this time of the year. The blood bank said they are grateful to those who had donated and are appealing to the rest of the public for more voluntary blood donors. All blood groups are required, A, B, AB, and O. All blood donors will also get mini health check, which includes weight, blood pressure, and hemoglobin. The blood donor run will be hosted at the Sir Brian Bell Center for Transfusion at 3 Mile Hospital, accessed through Staff Gate 2. The blood bank opens daily and operates from Monday to Sunday 9 a.m. to 3 p.m., including public holidays. The Public Service Dedication Service for 2025 will be held on this Friday, the 10th of January, at the Sir John Guy Stadium. This event marks the recommitment of public servants across the country to their duties and responsibilities, setting the tone for the year.
The hosting of this service was announced today by the Departments of Prime Minister and National Executive Council, Community Development and Religion, and Personnel Management. The 9th Public Service Dedication Service for 2025 will be held at the Sir John Guy's Indoor Complex in Port Moresby at 8 a.m. The theme is Year of Restoration in the Public Service.
This is an important day for the country, for all the public servants. It's like I said earlier, it reminds us that it's individual each public servant, we have a duty to play, and dedication reminds us that every year we need to rededicate ourselves.
So I think on Friday, that's going to be the purpose. And so as the Public Service Minister and my secretary, our job to our secretary, our chief secretary, is to pay our attention and focus on the public servants. And this Friday is for us to all public servants, starting from the chief secretary down to the frontline public servants, like I said, our government drivers, our ambulance drivers, all those remote health workers and teachers that are out there in the remote locations in entire public service, to use this week and for the rest of this month to prepare all the environment that we are working in.
It is important that the public service, the service delivery mechanism of government recognizes the significance of the year, and we also recognize the enormous expectations that are placed on us to deliver on the work that we are mandated to deliver, but to also help celebrate the year for and on behalf of our people and our country.
Minister Sungi emphasized the call for all public servants in NCD to attend in person. Furthermore, all departmental heads and SOE heads are required to submit their 2025 annual operational plans to DPM Secretary's office by Thursday, 9th January. The host departments are calling to action public servants to rededicate themselves to service excellence, stating that the dedication service serves as an opportunity to inspire a shared vision of restoration, unity and commitment, whilst reaffirming the government's dedication to upholding higher standards in the public sector. Maricela Kelleton, TV1 News.
The Papua New Guinea Pacific Engagement Visa Ballot will see an additional selection on January the 9th, 2025. The program offers Pacific Islanders and Timor-Leste nationals the opportunity to live and work in Australia. The PEV ballot opened in June 2024 and closed in August with registrations from 10 countries, including Papua New Guinea. An additional selection has been scheduled to fill the remaining spots. Successful applicants will be notified via email and have 120 days to submit their visa applications. This initiative strengthens ties between Australia and the Pacific, offering a pathway for Papua New Guineans to build better opportunities abroad, a vital second chance for hopeful applicants. Former NCD Acting Metropolitan Superintendent Mazuk Rubiang has resumed duties as the new Provincial Police Commander of Simbu Province, starting today, Wednesday, January the 8th, 2025. Tracy Pa with this report.
The welcome parade for Superintendent Mazuk Rubiang was conducted today in the heart of Kundiawa town, where he addressed his officers and the general public, highlighting his plans as the police boss of the province. He said Simbu province is not new to him because he had worked there for 30 years before he was transferred to other provinces. PPC Rubiang thanked the Commissioner of Police David Manning and his 3 deputies and the Assistant Commissioner of Police for Eastern End for having confidence in him to take up this role. He frankly informed his officers of their conduct in the province, stating how this has contributed to law and order issues in the province, something he intends to change. Superintendent Rubiang brings with him a wealth of experience, with the recent one being the acting Metropolitan Superintendent of NCD following his promotion to the rank of Superintendent. In his capacity, he introduced tough measures to curb rising law and order in the city, and one of it is the increase in bail amount for some of the offences, leading to city residents changing their behavior in a short period. He intends to roll out this same measure in Simbu province. Tracy Pa, TV1 News.
And now the finance news. The kina closed unchanged at $0.2497 in the interbank market. At Bank South Pacific, our kina was buying $0.2422 $0.3865 Australian dollars, €0.2269 and 38.01 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, oil closed higher, except cocoa closed the day lower. And on the stock market, the Dow Jones closed lower, ASX closed higher, and all ordinaries closed higher as well. You're watching TV1 News. We'll have news from overseas after these short messages. Stay with us. Thanks for staying with us. New South Wales health authorities are urging people to take extra steps to protect themselves from mosquitoes, with 2 nasty mosquito-borne infections detected in the state's west.
The mosquito-borne viruses were detected after routine testing, typically conducted from the November to March period annually by New South Wales Health. Just a few days ago in Moree, Japanese encephalitis was found among mosquito populations there. Concerningly for authorities, late in December last year, they were also discovered in Griffith, 10 hours south of Moree by car. Then, in between the two towns in the Narromine Shire, feral pig populations returned results for Japanese encephalitis. At this point, there's been no cases detected among humans. However, health authorities are particularly concerned about what appears to be the widespread nature of the virus. Elsewhere, compounding this issue, Murray Valley encephalitis has also been detected, that among sentinel chicken populations in Cowra and West Wyalong. Both of those towns are a reasonable distance for each other, so yet again, it's believed that this mosquito-borne disease is also widespread. Now, 55 local government areas across New South Wales have been identified as being at high risk. What people need to do there is to monitor for any symptoms. However, it is important to remind people that no cases of either of these viruses have been detected among humans in New South Wales at this present time. Their worst symptoms can prove to be fatal. Indeed, in the last Japanese encephalitis outbreak in Australia, 7 people died, and emergency services have to respond along with federal government should human cases be detected. However, we're not at that point yet. What you should do to protect yourself is avoid getting bitten by mosquitoes. While that might sound obvious, there are several steps you can take to mitigate that risk. It includes using insect repellent or sprays, having fly screens at your home or apartment, as well avoiding travelling or being out and about during dusk and dawn periods. Of course, if you're out camping or on holiday during those periods catching sunrise or sunset, the best thing to do is to use plenty of repellent, as well as wearing loose-fitting clothing that can cover large parts of your body, including long-sleeve clothes and pants as well. At this point, there is no vaccine for Murray Valley encephalitis. However, there is one for Japanese encephalitis. So in some instances, people will be able to access vaccines. It is rare, though, for people to get this vaccine, and you should only get it if you're at particular risk, is the current health advice. In those areas where there is a heightened risk, largely in regional and rural and remote parts of New South Wales, people should see their doctors as well, or go to the hospital if they're having particularly bad symptoms after mosquito bites. This could include disorientation or stiffness of the neck, which can be an indication of brain sweltering.
Australia already boasts a few famous Hemsworths. Now it has another one. This Hemsworth is not an actor, but a funnel web spider, the largest ever recorded. Spider keeper Emma Tenney has all the arachnid facts about the big guy.
Hemsworth is the biggest spider that we've received here, male, of the funnel webs. I can actually show you, I've got him here. So average funnel web spider would be around about the size of a 50-cent piece coin, and Hemsworth absolutely dwarfs the coin. So stretching from tip to tip, he's 9.3 centimetres, which is about almost 1.5 centimetres bigger than the last funnel web that we had.
Wow, thanks so much for giving us a look at him. He's huge. Were you surprised to find out that he was a male?
Yeah, absolutely. So females are naturally bigger than the males. And when he got handed into one of our drop-off locations, we just, had a look at him, thought, oh, yeah, definitely a female. And then on closer inspection, you can actually see the spurs, which are the male sex organs. And we were like, yep, no, that's a male. So he's ridiculous.
Wow, and so Hemsworth is exciting not just because he is so big, but also he's going to join the park's anti-venom program. What is that?
Yes, so in 1981, we began the anti-venom program here at the park. And since its inception, we've had no fatalities due to the funnel web spider bite. So here at the park, we collect the venom, we freeze it, freeze dry it, and then send it down to the laboratory in Melbourne, and they rehydrate it and they'll inject it into rabbits. Now, the rabbits don't have a fatal reaction from the venom. However, they have an immune response, and that creates venom-resistant plasma. Now, that venom-resistant plasma can be popped in. We can take the blood from the rabbit, pop it into a centrifuge, spin it, and the venom-resistant plasma separates from the red blood cells. Now, we don't need those red blood cells. We can pop them straight back into the rabbit, and then that plasma which we have is actually able to be used to save lives of those who are bitten by the funnel web spider.
Wow, and so you say that since its inception there hasn't been a single fatality in Australia from a funnel web spider bite?
Yeah, we're very proud of it. So 1981, we invented the anti-venom here at the park, and we're the sole supplier for the venom. And since we introduced the anti-venom program, there has been not one fatality.
Wonderful. And I read that 150 to 200 milkings are necessary to create just one vial of anti-venom. Does Hemsworth's size mean that he has more juice in the tank?
Well, yeah, I actually do describe him as pretty juicy. So science does not determine their yield. However, Hemsworth is a particularly juicy spider.
And are you always on the lookout for more spiders? I understand someone brought Hemsworth into you. Is this a call out that you're putting out? Do you want people to bring you spiders?
Yeah, absolutely. So as being the sole supplier of venom for the anti-venom program, it's so important that we have a constant supply of spiders. Now, to make that harder, we only milk the male funnel web spider because he's about 6 to 7 times more toxic than the female. And then to make it harder again, once they reach maturity, their only natural lifespan is around about a year. So we need that constant supply of males to ensure that we have a constant supply of spiders for the anti-venom.
How should people go about catching a funnel web spider if they do find one?
So good news for them, they can't jump and they can't climb a smooth surface. So if you have a smooth jar and a long-handled spoon or something like that, you can gently place it in front of the spider and encourage them to walk into the jar. Once you've secured it with a lid, you can drop it to one of our drop-off locations. We have them, you can find them on our website, ranging from Newcastle all the way down to South Sydney. And then we'll send a keeper out each week who actually will then go and collect the spiders and bring them to us, and they'll go into that life-saving anti-venom program.
Pope Francis on Monday named the first woman to head a major Vatican office, appointing an Italian nun, Sister Simona Brambilla, to become prefect of the department responsible for all the Catholic Church's religious orders. The appointment marks a major step in Pope Francis' aim to give women more leadership roles in governing the Church. While women have been named to number 2 spots in some Vatican offices, never before has a woman named prefect of a dicastery or congregation of the Holy See Curia, the central governing organ of the Catholic Church. The office is one of the most important in the Vatican, known officially as the dicastery for the Institutes of Consecrated Life and Societies of Apostolic Life. It is responsible for every religious order, from the Jesuits and Franciscans to smaller, newer movements. For many musicians, the rise of social media has created a way to directly grow a fan base without the need for a record label. However, independent artists say they're under increasing pressure to put their creative energy into keeping their accounts constantly updated, making it harder than ever to succeed in the industry.
Rocking out in front of a room full of fans is a regular night for this band, but it's not the only platform they have to perform on.
It's a beautiful tool to expand your fan base and even people you collaborate with. There's so many people you can reach, but it can be I think it can take away from a lot of that creative processes.
Emmett Prime says his band Maisie has to create social media content if they want to make it in the music industry. It's a pressure they say most independent artists are feeling. Where once record labels could make or break careers, now the focus is on followers.
A lot of that star-making power has disappeared. And now we're sort of, competing creatively and competing strategically to win audience attention on the internet.
Whilst it can be a good tool to reach fans directly, artists and labels alike admit the pressure to perform on social media can take time away from actually making music. They say it's felt most by independent and emerging musicians who are trying to get discovered in a global sea of artists.
I absolutely do believe that the pressure that we're putting on, young upcoming artists is in the first stage of their career absolutely greater than it ever has been. And it's really, really hard to break through.
It's not just about growing a fan base. A strong online presence is now a requirement to qualify for things like industry grants and other opportunities.
We've been knocked back from Music SA for certain things, just based on our social media presence.
The artist has to be able to show that they're ready to maximise any opportunities that might come out of that, which includes a really strong media and social media presence.
But industry experts say, at the end of the day, making great music is still the best way for an artist to cut through the noise.
They need to think first about the music and then find a way to transmit that story and transmit that music through their social media.
A 24-year-old Fijian man has faced a magistrate's court in Nadi, Fiji, over the alleged rape and sexual assault of a Virgin Australia crew member. Eliza Tanoa Degay is accused of raping the 21-year-old Melbourne woman who was in Fiji over New Year's Eve as a crew member of a Virgin Australia flight during a layover. Mr. Degay was denied bail during his appearance in court on Monday afternoon. He will appear in the High Court in Lautoka on January 20. If convicted, the farmer could serve up to 20 years in jail. He was charged with 1 count of sexual assault and 1 count of digital rape. He is alleged to have taken her to the entrance of her hotel and assaulted her there after offering her a ride in his unregistered taxi. Indonesia has launched a $45 billion nationwide free meal program aimed at providing nutritious meals to 82.9 million people by 2029. The program will initially focus on school children and pregnant women. Critics argue the program is financially unsustainable and could strain the country's fiscal health.
This is what $1 gets you in Indonesia. Permisi, makan apa?
Makan sayur.
Nasi, rice,
Sayur,
daging sapi, beef, carrot, jeruk, yeah, and a mandarin as well. And bagaimana rasanya?
Enak.
Enak, delicious, she says. So this is the first week of the government's free lunch or free nutrition program. They're rolling out about 550 of these meals at this one school alone. Across the country, it's about 600,000 meals. Eventually, they want to ramp this up to more than 80 million meals for school children across Indonesia, as well as pregnant mothers every single day.
Our children don't really bring their own food from home. Their parents are mid to low income, so the kids only have a little bit of pocket money to spend on chicken porridge, instant noodles, or some sweet drinks. With this program, they'll finally have enough nutrients.
So this program is being very well received in the first week. Certainly everybody here is behind the goal of trying to reduce malnutrition and reduce growth stunting in Indonesia. But there are some economists who are raising doubts about how sustainable this is. Can the government really continue to serve millions and millions of decent meals every day at a cost of just $1 each, particularly as the program expands further. But for now, the children's bellies are full. They say the food is relatively tasty, so this free lunch program is off to a good start.
After sweltering through a very hot few weeks, Canberrans have enjoyed a reprieve with cooler conditions, bringing some relief. While the cool change is expected to linger into next week, experts are warning it's too early to say with any certainty what the rest of the summer has in store.
What a difference a day makes. After the heat and sun of the past few weeks, Lake Burley-Griffin was today grey, choppy and quiet as some Canberrans opted for indoor activities.
We're planning on going for a walk around the lake, but I don't think we will.
Others were relieved by the dip in the mercury.
Actually pretty comfortable. It's a lot better for walking around.
And it wasn't just people benefiting.
So it's given us an opportunity to get back out in the gardens and to have a look around, make sure we get the water up to our plants and to check in to do some of the jobs that we can't do when it's really hot.
According to the Bureau of Meteorology, the temperature peaked at 20 degrees this afternoon, compared with the low to mid-30s experienced throughout December and January thus far. Temperatures are forecast to remain below 30 until next week, with a chance of some thunderstorms.
We're in the high-risk weather season here in the ACT, so if we're not in that fire season, we've got the risk for storms and floodings.
With crews having been called to multiple grass fires in recent weeks, the Rural Fire Service is warning against complacency during the cool snap.
Fires can start at any time of the year. They can move quickly, they develop quickly, and just because we've got a cool day and a little bit of moisture around doesn't mean that we won't get fires. We've still got 3 months of the fire season to go.
A possible La Nina would be good news for crews, but one expert is warning it's too early to call it and it may be weak.
The outlook for the next couple of months in this part of the world is that we've got slightly above average chance of having good rainfall, but it's only very slight.
A warning, the reprieve is just that.
And that ends the main news. Over to you, Rex.
Thanks, Jasmine. After the break, Labour retires and zero tolerance to violence. Welcome back. In sports, former PNG Kumuls captain Kai Lebert has announced his retirement from Rugby League, bringing the captain down to a memorable Rugby League career. Lebert's last appearance in the Kumuls colours was in the 2024 promotion relegations clash against New Zealand Kiwis.
Horn, yay! Why wouldn't you give it to him? Offload this time, land good hands, goes to Lebert.
Kai Lebert has been a wonderful servant to PNG national rugby league team in almost a decade, since making his Kumuls debut in the 2019 Pacific Test match against Samoa at the Leichhardt Oval in Sydney, Australia. Since then, he had been a regular member to Kumuls team until his resignation. The Kumuls 5'8" had represented PNG over 10 times, including the 2019 Great Britain Lions tour. Lebert also played for PNG in 2 Prime Minister's 13 matches in 2022 and 2023, captaining the 2023 game. He led the PNG Kumuls as the captain in the inaugural Pacific Bowl Championship in 2023, where PNG won. He also proved handy for his side when they retained the bowl title in 2024 and played New Zealand Kiwis for promotion, which they lost. Given his style of football and physicality, he became a fan favourite and one of the popular members of the Kumuls team. His edge defence has been considered by many as the best from the PNG Kumuls 5'8" in the recent years. Young brother Zach joined him in representing PNG at the international level later, to which Kyle said it was the best feeling playing alongside his brother in the Kumuls jersey. Kyle adds he will treasure every moment in the Kumuls camp. The Labour siblings' relation to PNG is through their great-grandparents, who operated business for a good number of years in Port Moresby back then, as well as their grandmother who was born in Madang province. Kumuls coach Jason Demetrio will now keep an eye out for a replacement in preparation for the international games this year.
Reach out and score!
The national government has condemned the actions of the PNG international Kevin Appo, who departed the UK after being charged for rape and assault, and will work with respective national agencies, the British High Commission and UK authorities to have Appo repatriated back to the UK to answer the charges. Foreign Affairs Minister Justin Tachenko, in a statement this morning, condemned Appo's actions and said the government will not tolerate this unacceptable behavior. He confirmed receiving a brief about the charges against the 25-year-old Eastern Highlander and of the manner of which he fled the country after being charged in the UK. He said the government will not harbour any citizens who has been proven to commit crime in another country and has returned home to hide. Tachenko is concerned that this incident has tarnished the good work and the sporting relationship that have been forged with the UK. The Papua New Guinea Rugby Football League has issued a statement around the investigation of PNG international Kevin Appo on serious criminal charges of sexual assault in the United Kingdom. The PNG RFL chairman Sandy Saka said the PNG RFL has a zero tolerance for violence against women or any form of criminal misconduct, and as per normal practice and precedents, Kevin Appo will be stood down from any participation and representative duties in rugby league in PNG.
Charged with rape, sexual assault and 2 other counts of assault, Kevin Appo was reported to have fled the UK for PNG. According to BBC News, Appo was given conditional bail on 26 November 2024, a Bradford Magistrate Court, to be heard Monday this week. The report further stated that Appo boarded a flight to Dubai from Manchester Airport and subsequently arrived in PNG via a connecting flight. Meanwhile, the PNG RFL statement said, "We belong to the international games and all rules of the game apply." Chairman Saka said they are working with the UK Rugby League and whatever decisions are made will be upheld if policies are aligned and to ensure compliance. Based on that, the PNG RFL will do whatever necessary to address this and protect the game and all stakeholders involved in our sport. The PNG RFL is in contact with the UK and PNG authorities in dealing with this matter. PNG RFL strongly encourages Mr. Appo to work with the relevant authorities to address the matter and abide by the necessary legal processes. The chairman said investigations of this nature are never a good look for any sport, and as an organization, the PNG RFL strongly condemns such behavior and disregard for the laws and processes of our own country and others in which our people are ambassadors for the country and the sport. PNG RFL Chief Executive Officer Stanley Hondina emphasized that PNG RFL aspires to create avenues for our people to be better, and it is disappointing to see such investigations. He said the onus is on our people who are given opportunities overseas to uphold the utmost respect of each other and the laws of these countries. Ondina stated that inaction and actions of one player does not represent those of the many who are in our games and overseas. Terry Longwood, TV1 Sports.
For the first time since the inception of the NCD Governors' Cup tournament, an unfortunate death has occurred. A player believed to have sustained an injury while participating in this year's tournament passed away while in hospital. Upon hearing of the unfortunate incident, Cup patron and sponsor NCD Governor Powers Parkup conveyed his sincerest condolences to the immediate family for the loss while awaiting autopsy from doctors. Governor Pakop has also made a donation of 10,000 kina towards the family in mourning.
While awaiting autopsy from the doctors to confirm the real cause of death, NCD Governor's Cup sponsor and patron Powers Pakop has conveyed his sincerest condolences on behalf of the tournament executive to the immediate family of the late Jeremiah Palisa and the Border Storm Club for their unfortunate loss. Governor Pakop, during Sunday's Big Cup Grand Final, publicly announced a cash donation of 10,000 kina towards the house cry whilst awaiting the outcome of the post-mortem. Governor Pakop said this is a first case in the long history of the tournament.
So this year, sadly, somebody passed away about some days after gameplay. Well, directly related to the game or not, in behalf of our organizations, on behalf of my office, NCDC, Massive Condolence to Lorraine, and very Lorraine, and sorry people, and Therapy Area. When you get adoption and then post by the game or not, nevertheless, our family, working management now will contribute 10,000 million helping the celebration.
After their loss to 8 Mile Settlers in the prelim final on Friday, it was a sad and emotional scenario seeing the Border Storm players break down in tears not only for the loss but also for their fallen brother. Terry Longwood, TVWAN Sports.
Australia beat India by 6 wickets on the third day in Sydney to clinch a first series win over their opponents since 2015 and book their spot in this summer's World Test Championship final.
Beggars Greens clinched a 3-1 victory after reaching a target of 162 on third day in Sydney. Australia also sealed a spot in June's World Test Championship final against South Africa at Lord's. Earlier, India was only able to add 16 runs to their overnight 141 for 6 with Australia's seamer Scott Boland bagging 6 for 45 for his maiden 10-wicket haul in Tests.
It's taken beautifully. Big Boland debut. He's got 2. Boland gets his second.
Having taken 4 for 31 in their first innings. India quick Jasprit Rumba did not bowl on Sunday due to a back injury, but the tourists still gave Australia a scare at the SCG as the home side slipped from a 39-0 to 58-3. Prasidh Krishna removed Sam Constance for a sprightly 22 from 17 balls before dismissing Manas Labuschagne 6 and Steve Smith 4 cheaply, leaving Smith 1 run shy of 10,000 in Tests. However, Usman Khawaja 41 put on 46 with Head before the latter, and Webster added an unbroken 58 with Webster hitting the winning runs of Washington Sundar. Australia, who returned to Test action in Sri Lanka January, will meet South Africa at Lord's from June 11 as they look to defend the World Test Championship title they won by beating India at the Kaya Oval in 2023. India's hopes of reaching a third consecutive final are over, and the next test will be against England at Headingley from June 20, the first game in a 5-match series. Terry Longwood, TV1 Sports.
And that wraps up the sports segment. Jasmine.
Thanks, Rex. And now the weather forecast. Regional forecast. Southern. Port Moresby, chances of afternoon evening showers and thunderstorms. Alotau and Popondetta, light to moderate rains and thunderstorms overnight. Momase, lay chances of overnight showers or thunderstorms. Madang, Wewak and Vanimo, partly cloudy with few showers. New Guinea Islands, all centers partly cloudy. Highlands, Mount Hagen, cloudy with few evening showers and thunderstorms. Menditari and Wabeg, cloudy with overnight rain showers and thunderstorms. Ocean forecast, Coral Sea, Sea smooth with southwest winds of 5 to 10 knots, tending clockwise. Solomon Sea, sea slight to moderate with northwest winds of 10 to 20 knots. Bismarck Sea, sea smooth with northwest to northeast winds of 5 to 10 knots. Pacific Ocean, sea smooth to slight with northeast to northwest winds of 5 to 10 knots. And coastal waters forecast: waters of Samarai Island to Cape Vogel and all Milne Bay Islands, and waters of Cape Vogel to Huon Gulf to Finschhafen, sea 0.5 to 1.5 meters. Waters of Finschhafen through Vitier Strait to Siassi Long Island to Madang, and waters of West New Britain, seas 1 to 2 meters. And that ends TVWAN News. Thanks for watching. Bye now.